To police officers, how are you feeling seeing how the situation was handled in Texas? My city had a mass shooting where 10 people died 3 years ago. It took 6 responding officers 32 seconds to kill the active shooter. My coworker is a relative of one of the officers who responded that night. She told us that he thinks these cops deserve to burn in hell for abandoning those children. Military police here, I am angry beyond words at the tragedy that has taken place. MP training is direct to threat, and even without hearing gunshots we are required to breach the building and begin securing it, so if people are shot inside we can create a clear corridor for casualties to be collected and treated. These cowardly pieces of shit should turn in their badges and be held accountable for their inaction. I work for a sheriff's department and have gone into a few active shooter situations. If it's true that officers were standing outside, there needs to be some jobs on the chopping block. Also, it's obvious what departments do active shooter training and which ones don't. Sounds like that whole department needs an overhaul. It makes me mad. It should. Those cops just made your job 1000% more dangerous. Cops across the nation have lost public support and respect from law-abiding citizens. You should expect to see a lot more vigilante crime and anti-cop aggression. I literally never comment on anything but felt like I should here. I've only been on the job for a year and change in the largest department in America, and while we're definitely not perfect, I've been to a few shootings personally, and even with shots ringing out within visual range I've never seen any one of my coworkers run away or just wait for ESU, cause they could get shot, and I know I've never ran away. While I can understand being afraid, I can't understand not doing your job. We're first responders, and as such it's our job to go in there and get it done. Backup be damned. I hate Monday night quarterbacking, but I've risked my life on this job for way less, so when other officers wait idle while kids get gunned down it makes me mad. Retired Leo, the words disbelief and disgusted hardly scratch the surface. Charge all of them with negligent homicide/involuntary manslaughter, to add to the points the others are making. Imagine the effect on the children's parents. They already have the horror of their child being killed, knowing that their last moments were filled with terror and pain, but that's now compounded by the thought that their child could have been saved if it were not for the cowardice of the people they trusted to protect them. These poor souls are now broken. And this is a small town. I imagine these officers live there, the parents know their names and faces. Going to be some tense moments in the grocery aisle. And probably some houses discounted for quick sales. Was on one of the parents' FB pages, whose children survived, and he has massive survivor's guilt. Says he regrets standing outside, also said, I was always one of those people that said if it happened at my kid's school I'd go in, and I didn't. Friends and neighbors' kids died. He's posted clips of him driving near the school at all hours of the night. I know he's not alone, and I'm not sure they'll ever get over it. Something has to change. Ashamed of this agency and their so-called chief. If the shooter is isolated, you wait because time is on your side to negotiate. If they are actively shooting people, action must be taken. Just because the SCOTUS says there's no duty to intervene, I think most LE agencies' policy and, obviously, public opinion beg to differ. We should all be ashamed of the SCOTUS that would rule that police have no duty to intervene or to protect the public. In Britain, there was an attacker with a machete on London Bridge, and our unarmed police officers ran towards him with only pepper spray and batons, literally hitty sticks. In fact, one was an off-duty transport police officer with no gear at all. I can't fathom the slowness of the response in Texas. It made me immediately think of the civil servant who grabbed a narwhal tusk and attacked someone who was stabbing people during a knife attack in London. Or the lawyer who attacked a terrorist with a skateboard to save a woman before being killed by the terrorists in the London Bridge terror attack. These were just untrained people going about their day who showed more courage than trained and armed officers standing outside a school with children being shot. Not the police, but it reminds me of Stephen Clarkson in Glasgow, who stopped an on-fire terrorist with petrol bombs in the airport. A quote from him: "As soon as I hit him, I knew that he was going down." I don't mean to sound blasé. He'd been doing these commando-style moves to fight off the police, and he seemed well-trained, but I grew up in Glasgow. It seemed natural to me that a wee forearm smash would sort it out. I'm not a street fighter, but I know how to look after myself. Disgusted. My department had an all-cops run and strategy ready to go. We even had an airport stairs on a pickup truck to drive to the side of the school if it was a hostage situation on the second floor. We coordinated with firefighters to have multiple cops on the platform on top of the ladder on the fire trucks, and the fire trucks would drive us up to the sides of the school and the cops would make entry through the windows. We practiced breaking down the doors, and also practiced breaking through the drywall and studs if the door was barricaded. We were told any cop who didn't go into a school shooting situation unless told by the chief otherwise would be fired. We were also told that if we kneeled on any suspect we would be fired, and the chief would recommend to the DA to charge us, and would give the evidence themselves. This was also well before BLM. When I see shitty cops clowning around I am pissed. That's why cops all over have bad names. It's because of clowns like these. Shocked. Confused. Every active shooter training out there trains us to hunt down the threat and eliminate it as quickly as possible to stop the killing. It's been this way for at least a decade now. When I first started hearing about officers not going in and treating it like a barricaded gunman, I thought no way. That's impossible. I could see one cowardly officer freezing up and not going in, but all of them? Not a chance. It's looking more and more like that's exactly what happened here though. I'm just in disbelief. I mean, even if these officers were undertrained by their department, I don't believe they hadn't been exposed to the basic principles of active shooter response in some fashion. Even if they were ordered to stand down, fuck that. That's an order I'm disregarding, and I am confident many officers I know would do the same. I just don't get how this type of response could have happened.